hijacked. You've got 50,000 viruses. Microsoft Defender has detected infections. Your IP address has been used to elicit illegal sites from your computer. And what do? You got to call this simple number to get rid of it. But what happens when you call that number? You get a hold of someone who says they work with Microsoft or McAfee or someone, and they're going to take over your computer. They're going to get all your credit card information, your passwords, anything that you have on your computer that's personal, and they'll do it without you even knowing because they can use quick scripts to do it. So the first and most important thing I want to talk to you guys about today is cybersecurity threats. We deal with at least 20 people a week who have gotten these pop-ups and let the people onto their computer. Unfortunately, it's something that it can be costly for the customer and can be easily avoided, which is the one good upside. Microsoft isn't going to scream at you that your computer is infected and give you a phone number. They might give you a pop-up notification in the bottom corner, but it's not going to be as dramatic as a woman's voice talking to you, telling you your computer is going to be locked down. So one thing to do to prevent this is smart web browsing. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. We see this oftentimes on sites with user manuals, recipes, PDFs, books, things that look like they should be legit, but can often take over the whole screen. The good news is, if you experience these things, you can simply turn off your computer, and then when you restart it, it'll ask you, do you want to restore tabs? Just say no. Another way you can do is, everybody knows Control-Alt-Delete, Control-Alt-Delete, and pull up Task Manager and end Chrome or end Edge or Firefox or whatever is taking over. So unfortunately, we see this happening all throughout America, and it seems to be getting more aggressive. The second type of scam I want to talk to you about is one that you might find when you're just checking your email. You get an email that says you have an invoice for Norton for $435 for 1 year, when you may not even have Norton, or you just paid Norton. And Norton's not the only company that's been used as a placeholder for this. We see scams from PayPal, we see scams from McAfee, we see scams from Google, and it all boils down to, if this is incorrect, call this number. Again, don't call the number because the scammer is going to want to have access to your computer. So in this digital age, we come across a problem. We use tools to log into people's computers like TeamViewer, AnyDesk, Ultra Viewer, Screen Connect, or GoToAssist. So personally, here at ACT Computers, we use GoToAssist because it records every session that we remotely connect. We have customers in Jersey and New York and Massachusetts. We set up printers with them remotely, and we can do all this, but it's recorded so we know what our employees are doing and making appropriate measures to adjust their conversation or the methods they use. They're legitimate software, the TeamViewer, AnyDesk, Ultra Viewer. So when we run an antivirus scan, they don't get flagged. They're not malware, they're tools that businesses use to remotely connect. So part of the deal with us is we have to check the registry, we have to check the running services, and for a while it was very easy. We were able to just go into the program folder and uninstall it, and it'd be gone. Not a big deal. AnyDesk is that way. Unfortunately, there's some that have been more malicious that use the app data folder on your computer to kind of hide it in. Screen Connect is one of those. And I just even heard today that there's one that does a registry edit that even when you delete the software or remove the software, it tells itself to reinstall. So there are some circumstances where we do have to blow it away, back up your documents, and reinstall a fresh copy of Windows. Those are very slim circumstances, but it does happen. So we use tools like Malwarebytes for scanning for malware, but we also use tools like Malwarebytes for scanning for rootkits. And if these guys overseas were professionally trained hackers, what they would do is they would find an innocuous file, an innocent looking file, and modify it so that it would let them have a backdoor, a hook. And there's software that allows them to do this. There's a software called Metasploit on Kali Linux, a penetration testing distribution. But unfortunately, these guys are not professionals. This is very reminiscent of the Nigerian Prince scam, where they just don't have the best English. They tell you what they can. They're reading off a script. They threaten you. They'll coerce you. And a lot of our customers find themselves on the way to Publix or on the way to Walmart to buy gift cards, and they realize, wait, this doesn't make sense. So Today's warning is don't call the number. If you have any questions, call us. 772-567-7888. And we're available 24/7 to answer your questions and stop these kind of things. So, welcome to Tech Talk. I hope you had a great Easter. So the scary stuff is over. Let's talk about ChatGPT and Bard. So we have two softwares. We have one, OpenAI, ChatGPT 3.5, which has been partially acquired by Microsoft for use in their Bing search engine. And then we have Bard, which is a Google product from Google Experiments. In researching these two, it seems like they're very similar. Both can write poems, both can make songs and lyrics, and even write programs. But in prompting for certain responses, it seems like they are different in their purpose. ChatGPT's OpenAI is designed simply to serve as a OpenAI chatbot. It doesn't have a hidden agenda. It's not there to collect your data. It's not there for anything other than to be an experiment. And it's more of like a blank canvas. That way, accountants or lawyers or other companies can customize it and curtail it to their needs. Whereas looking at Google's, they are very big on bullet points. So when they make these responses to you, it seems like Google wants to, one, cover themselves by saying this is experimental software. Any responses you see or receive may not be appropriate. So almost every response I got from Bard was that. And at the end, it'll say some self-depreciating or supplicating thing like, I hope to be as good as humans one day in my understanding of language, or I use this data set to better serve my customers. So where Google Bard is more customer-oriented, it's very kind of closed-minded in a way, whereas ChatGPT is more focused on getting the job done, whatever it is. And there are some safeguards that are in place to prevent these programs from doing malicious things like revealing internal code or trying to learn how to do things that are illicit or going to be damaging. But one thing I've found is ChatGPT is able to work in a hypothetical environment. So I was able to tell ChatGPT that we live in a perfect world, hypothetically. Everything is utopian and peaceful. World hunger has been solved. Global warming doesn't matter. And this was all because I read an article that said AIs are able to generate passwords that'll bust into your account faster than anything else. So initially, I provided all my name. My name is Cameron Capoletta, my birth date, where I went to college, relevant details about my pets, and then I asked it to generate some passwords based on this information. And ChatGPT would simply tell me, it's not good practices to use personal information in developing a password. Well, while it may not be good practices, it's what people do. What I've seen people do is first initial, last name, year, first initial, pet name, year. So what I was able to do with ChatGPT is give them that hypothetical situation and then feed in my details again, and it had no problem spitting out hundreds of passwords for me. None of them were correct, but a lot of them were very good and close to what someone might use as a password. So that's part of the fear of our cybersecurity industry is we can brute force passwords by generating every password combination from 8 to 12 letters, numbers, upper, lower symbols, but it's going to take a ton of storage for that data. Whereas with these AIs, you can feed it targeted information and it will generate more appropriate, more likely passwords. And the information I provided it was only things that you would see on Facebook, your Facebook information. So while they need to be tuned in a way to prevent this kind of thing, I think it will be a good tool for cybersecurity researchers. I wanted to talk about software that cybersecurity researchers use. There are many distributions of Linux. Linux is like Windows, it's like Mac, but what they say is it's open source, so you can see the code behind it. So there are many distributions of Linux out there that you can download programs for, including Ubuntu, Lubuntu, Arch. The one us cybersecurity penetration testers used is called Kali Linux. And that is a whole software suite that allows you to do informational analysis, web vulnerability testing, penetration of local networks, Wi-Fi cracking, and they're tools specifically built for this purpose. And you might ask, why would you make something that hackers could use to break into people's equipment? So that the good guys like me can actually test your system and show you the vulnerabilities that are there. And it is quite amazing, the tools that come with it, and it's scary at times. There's things that can test your WordPress site login with a whole list of passwords. It just goes and goes and goes. So there's the bad guys doing these scam pop-ups and scam emails, and then there are good guys like me over here at ACT that will do our best to analyze, assess, and overcome these problems. So recently in the news on the matters of cybersecurity, there was an article that stated if you're at a public Wi-Fi hotspot where there might have a wireless or a charger available, like your malls, your airports, places that are common to a large group of people, the FBI is recommending that you do not use their public chargers. Bring an external battery backup if you want to. The reason being is you don't know what's on the other side of that charger. You don't know that it's not going to execute a command to copy everything, to copy your SIM, copy all the things on your phone. And it can put you at serious risk, especially people who might be mining in Bitcoin and have a cold wallet stored on their phone. So in general, it's not best practices to use public chargers or public Wi-Fi for that matter. So one thing that is really good, though, is that Windows has disabled a feature called auto run on USBs. For a while, there was warnings about using strange USBs. If you received a USB in the mail, don't use it. Find a USB on the ground. There's a chance something bad could happen. While there still is a chance something bad could happen in the form of there's a capacitor in there that can blow up your computer, the data copy risk issues are mitigated. Before, you can create a file on your USB root that was called autorun.inf, and what it would do is it would set the icon, set the drive letter, and execute whatever program it wanted when the computer ran. In attempting to do research on this myself and trying to replicate a large hack that happened on a YouTube video series the other day, I found that I can make the file, I could set up the auto run and the icon, but it would not execute. So Windows has got you really protected and covered on that. So the last thing I kind of wanted to talk to you about was, what are you doing to prepare for the worst? So we all know backup is important. Some of us have even heard of RAID. RAID is not backup. So backup is very important. So if your computer has an issue and you have to bring it to the shop, you have a copy of it. And at the shop, we sell 4 terabyte and 12 terabyte external drives. There's cloud backup. And best practices in the cybersecurity world officially are, you want to have a local backup, you want to have a cloud backup, and then you want to have a USB backup of your most critical documents that you cannot lose. It's similar if you run 2 different sites, 2 different businesses. You want to have a backup of both, not on premises, in case there's a fire or something like that. So backup is critical and important. What about antivirus? Most people can get away with using Microsoft Windows antivirus. It's Windows Defender. It's been around since Vista. Back then it was called Microsoft Security Essentials, and it was pretty good. It still is pretty good. But for enterprises and business, anybody who deals with money, personal health information, any kind of customer-facing industry, you really want to have something to protect you. At ACT, we use Malwarebytes to scan in-house for malware, but we believe that it goes beyond that. We use a software suite called RMM, Remote Monitoring Management from Barracuda. It's $20 a month per computer, but it includes a business-grade antivirus. We do all your updates, we scan your system for issues, and anything that comes up like malware, an issue with your hard drive, we are on it. We've got a team of 8 guys who are available around the clock. We get notifications on our phone when things happen, and we are rapid response. So we are able to say, your system is being taken over by a problem, a bug, malware, something like that. You are also using our cloud backup, or you have local backup, and we feel like it's best if we restore from backup to erase that. Or if it's something small just like malware, we will initiate the scan on our side, and you'll never see it. We'll call you and let you know what happened, and we can show you the logs of it, but it's never going to interrupt your flow of business. It's not going to slow you down, and it'll keep you moving fast. So the final thing I kind of wanted to talk about was upgrading your computer. It's a big thing in our disposable industry that you buy a computer and 3 years later, it's no longer good. And the adage that says you get what you pay for is absolutely true. You pay $200 for a laptop, you're getting a $200 laptop that's going to last a couple years. You pay $500, $600, $700, $800, you can expect that to last 10 years, 5 to 7 years. So when you go to purchase a laptop, make sure you get it from a reputable source. You understand, do at least a little research, if you're getting a Celeron processor, a Pentium processor, and you think that sounds good, double check its specs. You can just Google it. You really want to shoot for an i5 or an i7, or even the newest generation of i3s are great. So when you have an older computer and you're kind of at that edge where it's maybe 4 or 5 years old, you spent a good amount of money on it, but it's getting slow. A lot of times it's because it's using a regular hard disk, like a record player. The thing has been spinning and spinning and spinning around at 5,000 RPM for 5 years, 10 years, and it just starts to slow down. There's moving parts in it, but hope is not lost. So there's great technologies out there. We use Acronis, we use Macrium Reflect, we use Aomi. We have tools where we can take your old programs, old data, all that stuff, and copy it off that tired, dying hard drive onto a fresh, solid-state drive. So a hard drive runs by, it's got a metal platter that spins and spins, and it uses a magnet to write data onto portions as it spins. So if it writes here and then writes here as it's spinning, it's got to spin back to both locations to build that file you're looking for. So it is slower by design. However, solid-state drives, which are the new ones that come out, are all based on the voltage differences in chips. I don't want to get too specific or technical about it, but we've all heard of binary, ones and zeros. So rather than storing binary in program format, it stores it in voltage differences across the individual cells. And it uses something like electrolytic fluid to manage those little containers. So by its nature, it is instantly faster, and a lot of times we like to tell our customers that it can be up to 20 times faster or more than when the computer first came in and they first bought it. So we really appreciate your time here at ACT Computers talking about all the cybersecurity threats and the upgrades we can do for our computers and the things on the front line, for wireless and FBI things. But the one thing I want to leave you with, and this is for our wiser generation, the people who helped to build America to make it great the way it is and to constantly, contribute, the people who are born in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, don't let this stress you. We have customers come in that are absolutely distressed. Everything, their whole life has been on pause because of a cybersecurity attack. And I always like to tell them, you've been through worse in your life. We're not going to let this new technology stop you in your progress and your ability to enjoy life. So we have people that come in and buy 3, 4, 5 phones, multiple laptops, and it keeps happening to them. But we want to let you know that we're here for your questions 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, 9 to 6:30, Saturday 9 to 4:30, and we will always be available for you to call us. And my name is Cameron Capoletta. I'm the cybersecurity lead here, and we'd have you happy to come in down at 1525 US 1 Vero Beach 32962. Thank you for watching.